We got some new fragrances from Fragrance Buy. I'm super excited to jump into these today because we're gonna be looking at four, whoa, that almost fell. But supposedly these are really nice gourmand fragrances, and even though it is summer, I still think we're gonna find some magic today. So stick around, make yourself comfortable, and let's jump right in. How's it going, everyone? Thank you for joining me today and welcome to the channel. It's wonderful to have you, and I'm excited to check out some of these fragrances. Now, before we start, I did spray a lot of these fragrances beforehand on some tester strips so I can at least compare some of the dry downs. So this is going to be a first impressions, but we're also going to have some context from, when it dries down a little bit. So you're going to get a good idea of how these are going to smell. The first one we're checking out is Paris Corner's Rifaaqat. I think that's how you say it. Rifaaqat. This is from their series, and I was super excited to check this one out because supposedly this is going to be a twist on the YSL baby cat DNA. And so I have smelled Lattafa Musamman, which is also supposed to be close, but I never did get my nose on the original. But supposedly this one is supposed to be a very close rendition of that DNA. So this bottle looks absolutely awesome. It's very sleek. You have this beautiful glass kind of extra space down here, and it really does look like an expensive, elegant fragrance, and I'm a huge fan of this presentation. The cap itself is a plastic cap, and it has a nice little bit of heft to it, so let's check this fragrance out. Beautiful pressurized atomizer with a nice blast of fragrance. Hold up. Just when I thought Lattafa Musamman was one of my favorite kind of resinous fragrances, I think this definitely takes that into the next step and adds a little bit more of a gourmand touch to that. Holy crap, does that smell good. So I'm getting that really nice resinous peppery wood in the opening, and it's just got a beautiful spice to it. So yeah, it's like there's that pink and the black pepper in this, but man, does it smell absolutely heavenly. You have some saffron and you also have some vanilla in there. So it's smelling kind of gourmand, a little bit ambery and warm. And I gotta say, this stuff just smells fantastic. There's a little bit of a smoky agarwood vibe, and it reminds me a little bit of the OG, I think it was the Lattafa Amir Al Oud Intense. I don't know where my bottle is. It's somewhere on my shelf. Oh yeah, here it is. It kind of reminds me of this one because you have this smoky wood, almost like a burnt leaf vibe, but at the same time, it's very resinous. You have that nice agar wood in here, and you have that waxy kind of resinous elamide that just makes it smell absolutely heavenly. God, that opening is absolutely fantastic, and I'm excited to see how this smells in the dry down, so let's actually check that one out. It's really interesting in the dry down in this because it gets a little bit more woody. You almost have like a cedar wood vibe going on, and you also have a lot of vanilla and musk in here. So it does still smell a little bit warm and ambery, but really it's just a nice, sweet, warm kind of woody musk in the dry down that definitely smells fantastic. And the quality in this one is quite good, and I remember some of the Paris Corner ones, depending on the price for what you pay for these, if you get some of the $20 ones, sometimes they can be a little bit cheap smelling, but this does not smell cheap. This doesn't smell scratchy. It smells high quality, sweet, resinous, and just a beautiful Middle Eastern smelling fragrance that is probably gonna get you close to that baby cat. I still gotta get my nose on that. This one definitely leans a lot more masculine because it's that nice woody smoke and just resin, but I still think that anybody can pull this off, and it just kind of reminds me of like smoky forest. So it almost smells like burning forest, and it just smells really, really good. But this stuff is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to do a full wearing of this one because I imagine it's going to be amazing in terms of longevity. I did spray these on the tester strip about 8 to 10 hours ago, and it's still going really strong on the tester strip. So that'll give you an idea of all of these. So that one I can't wait to do a full wearing, and that one is Paris Corner's Rifaaqat. And next up, we're checking out Lattafa's Eclaire. This one has one of the craziest looking bottles that I've seen in a while. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, check out this presentation. It almost looks like a melted like chocolate marshmallow. It actually looks pretty satisfying. Ooh, I can already tell. That is vanilla heavy. I can already smell it. that is either super light or I'm starting to go a little bit nose blind. I feel like it might be the second one. Sometimes on these real strong fragrances, it's not good to smell the tester strip or stick your nose right in it because it'll quickly make you go nose blind and you won't be able to smell the fragrance anymore. But just kind of waving it around, I'm definitely getting a nice vanillic kind of lactonic vibe. Oh yeah, that's starting to settle down a little bit more and it's starting to come out and definitely evolve into a nice creamy lactonic, just caramel milky fragrance. Something in this reminds me of like a really gourmand candle almost, so it just kind of smells like a caramel fall vibe, and it's just very sweet. It's honey-like and it's got some white florals in there, and it just smells sugary and delicious. I feel like as this one is going to macerate and sit on the shelf a little bit, it's going to evolve a little bit more and get a lot more strong, but at least right now it is super musky and it is very lactonic, and so it's a very interesting combination because it's super sweet, very vanillic, and you almost have a slight nutty vibe from almost like a tonka in here. It's just a really nice powdery gourmand vanillic salty musk, so it almost just smells like a salted marshmallow square of some sort, and it just smells really good. It definitely carries that kind of creamy lactonic feel into the dry down, but it definitely becomes a ton more musky and it has a little bit of amber in there. So again, it's going to be salty, it's going to be very sweet, but not quite as just explosive as the opening in this, because you have a ton of caramel, you have some of that sponge sugar kind of vibe in the opening, but in the dry down it's very musky. So if you like sweet kind of musky women's fragrances, I think this is going to be a perfect choice. I was super excited to try this fragrance because it was supposed to be very similar to Bianco Latte by Giardini di Toscana. I was not going to remember that. I had to look at that. But I've heard wonderful things about that niche fragrance, how it's just very milky, it's very vanillic and very musky and calming. And this, I feel like it definitely matches those descriptions and from what I've seen online. And, you know, I still would like to get a decant of that, but at least in this stuff, it smells absolutely wonderful. You still have that caramel, that is scrumptious stuff. I would definitely say this is a feminine fragrance, but if you like a vanilla balm, like a vanilla extract balm, then I still think that you're gonna like this one. But for me personally, I might be giving this one away to my family or friends, but that one is really nice, and that one is Lattafa's Eclaire. Our next fragrance is a fragrance that I just added onto my cart because I wanted to get the free shipping, but this one actually surprised me quite a bit. I actually did smell this dry down a little bit, and I gotta say, this one is one of my favorites. And this one is Acqua di Parisis Silk Oud, and this is actually by Rayan Tradition. I did not know that. It was kind of hard to find, but you get this really cool green box. It is textured and it just feels really satisfying in the hands. So let's open this bad boy up. Now that is a classy looking, as I was saying, this is a very classy looking bottle, and I absolutely love this cap. It's a very heavy cap, and I feel like it is plastic, but it feels really satisfying and just matte in the hand, and it just has a real satisfying click when you put it on. Really nice atomizer, and I feel like there's just a huge fog of this fragrance right in front of me, and whew, now that is really up my alley. You have a huge blast of patchouli in the opening. You have some vanilla. It's also got a really nice, soft, silky oud, as the name would suggest. So it's not going to be a real animalistic oud like some of the Middle Eastern fragrances out there. It's not like a barnyard oud. It's a very silky, regal, just supple smelling oud. And it just smells so luxurious, and that is just so satisfying. The vanilla in here is a really nice supporting vanilla. It's not going to be a vanilla forward fragrance. It's more of a soft kind of warm ambery oud, but I think it definitely adds a nice bit of a sweetness to it without going too gourmand or too overboard. And that patchouli is a nice creamy earthy patchouli that gives it a nice depth, and mixed with some of that oak moss in there, I think it just smells a little bit earthy and definitely woody, but it's a nice soft wood, and it is just so smooth. I cannot stress that enough. It is kind of strange because it's reminding me of a couple of fragrances. I can't quite put my finger on which ones, but I feel like I have smelled something very similar to this. I mean, of course you are. It's going to be patchouli, oud, and some mossy kind of earthy tones, but it kind of reminds me of the Maison Francis Kurkdjian oud fragrances, like a little bit like silk mood, and also the satin mood. but ultimately this is a beautiful, easy to wear version of agar wood around that note. And I feel like if you are new to the world of oud fragrances, I think this is going to be a really nice entry-level oud fragrance. And if you like those nice warm oud fragrances that aren't too screechy, then this is going to be a perfect choice. Not to mention it was about 23 or 25 bucks. And so I'm really excited to check out some of the other ones from this house. And that one is Acqua de Parisis Silk Oud. And last but not least, one of the most powerful fragrances I have bought in a long time. This is Lattafa's Sehr. Look at how huge this presentation is. Like, it's basically the size of my head. I feel like it's taller. What the heck? This is a heavy, heavy fragrance. And as you can see, we do have the Lattafa sticker in the back. And this is not from their Lattafa Pride line. This is just their regular Lattafa line. Same with the Eclaire. It's also really cool because depending on how the light hits this, you get this really cool outline of the fragrance bottle, which is one of the most wild bottles I've checked out. So let's take a look. Oh my God. So they stepped up their bottle game. I don't think I've seen a fragrance bottle and cap especially as striking as this one. And my God, does that have some heft to it. This almost feels like a huge belt buckle. And this has some weight to it. Like, I feel like you could play horseshoes with this. This is huge. You have this really cool dragon looking thing. I'm not entirely sure what that is. It's like a dragon or a serpent. And it's got this really cool little amber looking marble or something in the middle. And that's pretty damn cool. The fragrance bottle itself reminds me of a Gisa fragrance bottle. And it kind of reminds me of the Pasha de Cartier bottles. So man, this is quite a presentation. I'm gonna do one spray just because I did try this out a little bit earlier and it is so incredibly strong. That's all you need. I actually did a quick review of this yesterday and I remember I did about 3 or 4 sprays. I didn't spray it on myself. All I did was just kind of blow the wind in my direction, and the shirt that I used yesterday still smells like that over 24 hours later. It is no joke. Man, if you love vanilla, if you love almond and just powdery, sweet, just gourmand donut vanilla vibes, then this is gonna be your fragrance. Like, I can't even sniff the tester strip. It is that strong. I'm just waving it in front of my face and it is so unbelievably dense and intense. I feel like they should be selling this stuff in a 30 ml bottle. Like, there is no way that you can go through 100 ml of this stuff. Immediately when you spray this, you are hit with a blast of that cinnamon, bitter almond, and vanilla. It is an intense vanilla, so they're calling it Vanilla Absolute, and they are not playing around with that because it is so strong. There is that bitter almond quality, and it's a little bit metallic in the opening, and it is just everywhere. They also have some Acqua wood in here that gives it a little bit of a creamy touch, but it still just smells very lactonic, very nutty, and it has a nice kind of tonka bean vanilla sweetness. So the tonka plus Vanilla Absolute, this is a vanilla bomb, and there is no way that you can wear more than one spray of this. So as this is starting to mellow out, you're definitely getting a little bit more of that cinnamon and also the Acqua wood. And so something in this kind of reminds me of horchata. So it kind of has that really nice milky vanilla sweetness with that nice cinnamon warm spice, especially from the amber and that cinnamon. So it is a nice subtle spice to that really sweet vanilla, and it definitely mellows out a little bit in the dry down. But it is still pushing off strong. Like, I did spray this probably 10 hours ago and I still smell it going really hard. But I think some of the jasmine and a little bit of a floral vibe come out, and it's almost like a honey, just like a honey jasmine vibe, but it is still very vanilla forward, and it is one of the strongest vanilla fragrances that I own. I do own Montal's Vanille Absolue, and I feel like it does take heavy inspiration from this because it is that vanilla just bomb, and it definitely has almost like that vanilla cake vibe. It could also be inspired by something like Tom Ford's Vanilla Sex because it's a little bit vanillic and it has a little bit of that salty, nutty vibe, but this stuff is good. In terms of performance and longevity, it is crazy because I did spray this on my clothes again, like I said, and I can still smell it going super strong. You have that really nice resinous, sweet, vanillic, just woody vibe. And actually, the more that I look at this, I almost feel like this is a pistol. But anyways, this is one of the most powerful fragrances that you can get for about the $40 to $50 mark, even more so than Lattafa Camera. So this one blows that one out of the park, and that one is Lattafa's Sehr. My God, there's so much vanilla and oud in this room in here. I feel like as soon as I open the door, it's just gonna, huge cloud is gonna just come right out of that door.
Perfume department! always hate going in there.
But there you have it. These fragrances are absolutely fantastic for the money. If I had to pick some of my favorites, wearability wise, something that I would wear on myself, I think this one, the Silk Oud by Acqua di Parisis, I think this is a wonderful everyday oud that's going to be sweet, supple, and it's just going to be an easy wear fragrance. And I think the Paris Corner Rifaaqat, I think that one is going to be in my rotation like crazy, especially if I'm working inside. I want to smell a little bit sweet, a little bit smoky, but you know, it is summer, so maybe inside wear is going to be better for this. And then of course the Lattafa Sehr and Eclaire, they are wonderful vanilla fragrances. This one is definitely more women centric. I feel like it's a little bit more feminine, especially with those musks, and this one is just, this is just straight up vanilla. So I don't really see myself wearing those anytime soon, especially in this summer heat, but who knows? There we have it, 4 amazing gourmand fragrances from Fragrance Buy. So let me know down in the comments if you've tried any of these fragrances, because these are just beasts, and I would love to see your thoughts on those. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you guys stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one. I'm Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. Holy shit. I got the slightest bit of this juice on my finger and I just rubbed my nose and I feel like I just got assaulted. I feel like this fragrance just punched me right in my brain. Oh my God.